All right, welcome back, guys. Twisted Glass Productions. We're going to be doing another review. This is a Music Monday. Today we're going to be doing In Flames, I, The Mask, which is the new album by In Flames. They're a melodic death metal, or they were a melodic death metal outfit, and they are a foreign band. I believe they're from Sweden. I may be mistaken, but pretty much they've been around for the last 30 years or so. Not a single original member is in the band, which is pretty interesting. On top of that, they're Swedish. Okay, cool. They've had some ups and downs in their career, I could say that, in terms of their music. But we're going to be talking about I, The Mask since it just released this year. This is their newest release, and I'm pretty pumped about it, actually. Try to keep it short, sweet, and to the point about this particular record. Let me get to the track listing myself on my computer. I, The Mask has 12 tracks. It is a pretty decently lengthed album. Each song is anywhere between, I would say, 3 to 6 minutes. Nothing really hits the 6-minute mark. The longest song they have is about 5 minutes and 17 seconds. That's the last song, Stay With Me. A couple of songs that they have as a hit are the title track, I, The Mask, Voices, which is the first track on the album, I Am Above, and This Is Our House. I personally like This Is Our House the most off of this record. After that, it kind of tapers off and becomes a little bit, not necessarily difficult to listen to, but it becomes a little bit softer in a sense. But this is probably their strongest release they've had in the last, I would say, 10 plus years or so. For this one. Aside from Siren Charms, that was one of their best, and Sounds of a Playground Fading. So maybe in the last 5 years, I would say it's the best thing that they've come out with.
You're just lying all over the place, sir.
All over the place?
All over the place.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you said 6 minutes, there's nothing under the 6 minutes. You said 10 years, and now you're saying 5. I can't believe you, Jim.
You can't believe anything I say.
Yeah.
But,
you are fibbing.
I'm lying?
And you still have a sleep mark on your face.
Do you want to restart this?
Nah.
Okay. Anyway, that's kind of, it's 5 minutes and 17 seconds. That's not close to 6 minutes, but that is a good duration of time. It's 3 to 6. That's about the length of the songs. Personally, This Is Our House the most. Has nice group vocals and things like that. As a whole, I think that this is a pretty fun record. It's very catchy in a lot of senses.
Yeah, but to me, the drumming on it's very punky, very punk-esque. So
I liked that. I like the guitar work. I don't know. This is kind of like
I'm a sucker for good guitars.
Yeah, it's a very In Flames. You can tell it's an In Flames record. You can tell who the vocalist is. You can tell that everybody has their own place, but they kind of come together and they make a record, and then they make a record. Yeah, it's a good album. It's solid work in terms of music. It's solid work in terms of lyricism. They didn't really disappoint in any sense with this particular album.
And this is the first album of theirs that I've listened to, so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been around for a while. They've been around. They don't sound anything like they used to from back in the 90s. So 90s. I say 30 years because they have older music that are EPs and stuff from the edge of the 80s. So they've been around potentially since 89, I want to say. Maybe a little bit longer. Let's see. So In Flames, we're going to look this up. In Flames.
Yeah, the record's solid to me. Like I said, very punk-esque with the drums, switching into more metal throughout. It does that weird up and down. It goes very punk, and then fucking just
heavy.
Heaviness is awesome. The intro to Voices I really like with the guitar, because it's just and then fucking
yeah, it kind of hits pretty hard. They've been around for almost exactly 30 years, 29 years. So they've been around since 1990. They are from Sweden. They have no original members in the band anymore, as I mentioned before. First album that they've released was Lunar Strain, and that has a completely different sound compared to what this record does. So if you're at all interested in going back and listening to their whole discography, they do have a massive change in sound as soon as it hits through the years. But I would say sound-wise, this is more related to their newer stuff. And when I say newer stuff, I would say like after you started listening to like Reroute to Remain.
Yeah.
So like in the 2000s on, that's whenever it starts getting a little bit more metalcore-y.
Yeah.
And started getting to that
me,
punk sound.
It sounded kind of very early Bullet in some aspects of the record.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I would say Bullet for My Valentine was directly influenced by this band.
Yeah, that's just the band I can think of to compare them to.
Yeah.
In terms of sound for this record.
But it's pretty interesting. They have a completely different, like, that's what I'm saying, is like, when you listen to In Flames, you're getting kind of like a Rush-esque type of thing with them, where
Rush is everything?
Rush is everything, yeah. At least for this particular type of music. So if you go from like Lunar Strain to their EPs and the Jester Race, and then you go into Clayman, and then that type of stuff, and Oracle and things of that nature, that's going to be more melodic death metal. That's going to be them starting to transition a little bit more into the metalcore sound.
Yeah.
Where you were getting that stuff with like Soundtrack to Your Escape in 04, Reroute to Remain in 02, and then same thing for Clayman. Clayman was starting to fade into that whole metalcore genre more so. Come Clarity, and then A Sense of Purpose is that newish sound back in 08, where they started pushing a little bit more of the boundaries of being a little bit more melodic and being a little bit more ambient with their sounds that you would hear from then on out, basically.
Yeah.
They're very different with this record compared to what they did with the last record. We had mentioned it briefly in our podcast, but with our podcast, we were talking about a whole bunch of other shit. This particular record, I feel, is better written than the last record that they did, which was Battles. And a lot of the stuff that they did in Battles and the stuff that they did in their Down, Wicked, and No Good EP specifically is not necessarily heard in the Eye the Mask record. Like, they're trying to transition back into being more of a metal band and trying to stray away from the pop rock shit.
Okay.
And I'm kind of hyped about that, because it's like when a band learns their lesson with record that they sell, they start moving forward to what do our fans and what do we enjoy making type of thing. And I would give this album, if we were to give it like on a 10 scale, I would give this one maybe like a 7.5. I wouldn't give it like a necessary 9 or 10. It's kind of somewhere right there in a 7.5 feel. It's catchy. It has good guitar work. It has good drums. It has good vocals. You can understand him.
You can.
You can hear. He can sing pretty well, clean sing, and he can scream pretty brutally whenever it's needed.
Yes.
So I give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
See, when you first said it, I was going to say a 3, because in my brain I processed a 1 to 5, not a 1 to 10. And then you said 7 and it fucked me up.
Really?
It did.
Yeah.
So I would say around a 7 for me as well. Just because it's not everything that I typically listen to and shit like that. And I'm not very familiar with the band, but it's a pretty solid record. And like you said, the vocals are awesome. To me, they sound very early metalcore. That makes sense. You know what I mean? In that sense. And I love the guitar work. The drums are fucking dope. I also like the chorusy intro to This Is Our House.
Yeah.
I love it when bands do that shit.
Like the group vocals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 80s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's punk.
Yeah.
That's the whole punk idea. Like, there was a lot of stuff like Oi Oi Oi, and there's a bunch of different kind of like genres that are falling into this, but mostly you can hear that a lot of the dudes in this band, they're very metal-oriented, they're very punk-oriented. And that's what, when you touched on the whole, like, drum aspect, when you touch on the whole idea of the record, is that they came from a very dark type of music, and they're starting to they're coming pretty much they're coming from a more melodic death metal sound to from where everything is just very down tuned, very heavy, very. This is going to be bridge, chorus, like bridge, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, fucking verse, and then bridge, verse, and then chorus at the end and stuff like that. And it's very formulaic song structure and formulaic in that sense. But with this album and the last few records that they've done, is they're trying to break away from making it seem like it's the same shit every day.
Yeah.
And I do like how they're going back to that. We're comfortable with who we are, and this is what we're going to do with this one. I may need to give the last record a little bit more of a listen, but when I tried to listen to it, it sounded a little too poppy for me, for this band specifically. That's not what they are. They're not a pop band. They're not trying to be the next Bring Me the Horizon. They're not trying to be the next, Bullet for My Valentine, when they were trying to do that with the last record, that is.
Yeah.
Trying to do that whole thing. And I think if you're good at what you do, you could do that, but if you're going to try to do something a little bit different, kind of try to pull the idea that like the Deftones did, and the Deftones with Chino Moreno, the main vocalist and pretty much proprietor of the band, he didn't want to influence that band to specifically do pop shit, so he went and did Team Sleep, and he went and did Crosses, and he did some other shit to kind of experiment there and not mess with this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the idea that I have for a lot of bands. They could do that. They do have the power to do that, and stuff like that.
Like how Andy does Andy Black and then Blackbird Brides.
Pretty much, yeah. That's kind of the way that's the way it should be. We can't live in a perfect world, but again, 7.5 out of 10 for this album. It's very solid. It's very decently length. But after it gets to about In This Life, and Burn, In This Life is a little bit of a slower song, but like once it gets to Burn, you kind of I seem to taper off, and then take a break from the record, and then go listen to something different, and then come back and then finish the record. So that's kind of why I give it like a 7. If it was able to be listened to from 1 to 12 all the way through with no stops, then that would probably be more leaning towards a 10, and that's more so for like the more biased records that I have like in my discography, in my music collection.
Yeah, see, I can do that with this record because I had to.
Yeah.
Because I had to learn the record.
Yeah.
But I don't know, with casual listen, I don't know if I'll be able to make it through the entire record. But I could see if I can see where I would, but I don't think I will.
I get you. They're an interesting band. They're not for everybody, but they are highly regarded with what they do.
Yeah.
In a lot of senses. Records to note for this particular album, I would say, is I would try to check out their whole discography. But A Sense of Purpose is going to be something that's going to be along the lines of the mid to late 2000s, like metalcore, where it's going to be very feeling, it's going to be very lyrically intense, there's going to be a lot of melody, there's going to be a lot of guitar work, a lot of heavy drum work, where everything kind of fuses together and makes it sound like they're just dancing around the notes. At least that's my sense of it. Come Clarity is going to be some heavier stuff. It's going to have some of the more known songs like Crawl Through Knives. They play those songs live. It's going to be it's an earlier record, came out 2 years prior to A Sense of Purpose, and then A Soundtrack to Your Escape is another one of the albums. Like, I would say everything in the 2000s bracket for this band. Specifically for you to listen to that type of stuff. Okay. Because that stuff is going to be more so what I feel like you're going to be more attuned to. You're going to be more, what's the word I'm looking for? Attracted to, in that sense, because the way that it's written, the way that it is, and how it came out, when it came out, and all that stuff. And just their energies in the record. When you go a little bit further back, when you go back to like Clayman and Waracle and Jester Race and all that stuff, those are going to be a little heavier in the sense of it's going to be more screams, less they're going to be melodic death metal in the sense of they use melody in the guitar work, but they're going to still be really heavy, really scream heavy, a lot more lows and stuff like that in a non-deathcore sense. They're going to be more of a death metal sense in that kind of sense. So
I probably wouldn't listen.
It's going to be a little bit heavier, but it's going to also have that. You're going to hear what I mean when you listen to, say, something like the Waracle or the Jester Race. Waracle has one of my favorite songs, episode 666, on it.
That sounds good.
It's a really good song. It's very heavy, but you can hear the melody in it whenever you listen to the song. Okay. Later on, I'll show you. But there's a bunch of... We're not going to play any of the music in this because we don't want to get copyright strikes or anything like that. But we're going to talk about the music. So if you're interested, it'll be in the description for In Flames' Eye the Mask, their latest release. And a couple of other albums that they came out with. They got pretty much a 30-year discography of music. So check them out. I recommend them 100%. They are one of my favorite bands, so this was a pretty easy listen for me personally. But again, more than halfway through the record, I had to give it a break. Happens with a lot of other bands too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
I dig it. It was a good intro to this band for me because I like this record and everything. And like I said, I don't know anything of their old shit, so it was like a new slate. Really dope. Dug the drums, dug the guitar, vocals are dope. And yeah, this is a really good record to check out. And check out this band if you like their older shit. Check out their older shit, their mid shit, and then their now shit.
Yeah. So thank you. Subscribe, like, comment, let us know what you want us to listen to, and we'll listen to it. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be anything from country to pop to metal to rap to anything. We're going to give our honest opinion. And if you're willing to have us either completely destroy what you love or talk really highly about something,
brutally honest.
Yeah, we're going to be brutally honest about it, regardless of it being our favorite band. So yeah, let us know.
And then next week, what we have is A Day to Remember.
A Day to Remember. Which album specifically?
I think it's the newer album.
The newest album. It's going to be Bad Vibrations.
Yes, Bad Vibrations is next.
Bad Vibrations is going to be our next album. That's our latest album by A Day to Remember. And again, we're probably going to do the same type of formula where we're going to talk about that record, talk about our high points, low points, and then what it's similar to and what we like about that band specifically.
Correct.
Alrighty, thank you very much, guys. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if you have any suggestions in our comments, or you can email us at twistedglasspro@gmail.com of any kind of suggestions for any other videos that you would like us to do.
And I will try to wear a different shirt next week.
And you did wear a different shirt this week, yeah. That you wore a plain blank shirt last time, and I just wanted to give you a complex.
You son of a bitch. Bye, guys.